way back when I started with Space Command as an ops officer for a space support team squadron. I was a very junior as an ops officer, wasn't there very long, when an opportunity came up to take command of the squadron. And it was a command and control squadron. I just was notified one day, hey, tomorrow go see the 21st Space Wing commander. When I got there, and he says, well, congratulations, you're going to be the commander of a unit that just failed their ORI. The squadron commander and the ops officer have both been fired. You've got one of the flight commanders going to be your ops officer. Go figure it out. Okay. And as I was heading out the door, he said, oh, by the way, you're not going to be the squadron commander yet officially until you pass certification, which is a 2.5-month program. All right, so there's the task, which some people might say is a challenge. I think it's an interesting opportunity because you can always go up from there. But as you might expect, morale was really low. People were feeling beat upon. You bust an ORI, everybody looks at you like you got leprosy or something. So I knew we were going to have some things like that to deal with. So as I get there, I've got to go through the training. So I spent a few days reading all the portfolios of everybody in the unit so I know who I was going to be working with, and then focused on the training. It was a fairly long training program, and I was concerned for a couple things. I thought it was too long for what we were trying to educate because we were making it very complicated, and most of our personnel were enlisted, very technically qualified, but they come out of tech school. Most of them don't have master's degrees. We had a very technical mission. Folks who stood out the unit just a couple years prior were had master's degrees and had designed it very complicated. And it was tough to grasp hold of it if you just came out of tech school. It was tough for me to grab a hold of it. So we revamped the training, and I said, okay, there's certain things, assume we have a baseline, let's change this training program. And as I'm looking at the trainers, I realized that some of them were stand-up guys too, because we were a one-off mission, and it's like, there's too much mix here. So one of my first actions, even before I was squadron commander, was to separate the stand-up function completely. We'll hire more trainers, we'll train some more trainers, we're not going to have this mix. And the other part was, as we revamped it and made it shorter, I was able to complete the training they offered in fairly short order. And then, once I passed the training they had prescribed, I changed it to go with what I thought was more suitable for the mission that I thought our guys should be taken care of. At the time, group staff consists of a lot of folks who used to be in the squadron, had ideas about how it ought to be done. And I got a lot of pushback about revamping it, shortening it, saying, hey, you're making it too simple. It's like, let's make the mission work. I don't care how simple or how hard it is, but you guys have made it too hard. The resistance I then got was at group level, like, hey, you don't have all the trainers you're supposed to have. Why aren't you using these guys? Because I'm in charge here, and that's the wrong thing. We're going to train up other trainers. We'll sort out how to do it. And we did. And that was the start of some conflict with group staff, but I just felt like we're going to do this the right way. So it goes back to leadership style. When I was dealing with my own folks, I was very soft-spoken. When I met with somebody who I thought deserved a little more pointed reaction, or I didn't have time to be soft-spoken with it, boom, get the job done. I mean, it was always mission first. When people would want to badmouth the squadron at group staff meetings and so on, that was when I went from a leadership style of easygoing, soft-spoken, and just drill into folks. Because these guys are professionals. We don't do that. And then we went about working on mission processes. We eliminated one software set that just wasn't working. And the only reason it was retained was because the Air Force had invested $30 million in it. And they said, well, we can't waste that. I said, we're wasting time. So we counted at sunk cost. I convinced headquarters to trash it, and we came up with something that a lot less expensive, a little less fancy, but very functional and very effective. And then I would work night shifts. I'd cover all the shifts at one time or another. I said the previous commander never did any of the day shifts, stuff like that. And in the evenings when one fellow, tech sergeant, and he'd been tech sergeant forever. He just didn't seem to care. And I'm with him one night. I'm reading some Air Force list or whatever. We didn't have the list at that time, but we had professional reading. So I was reading that. He said, sir, why are you? I said, because we always make ourselves better. What are you doing during your time? I I said, don't you, I already read all the records. I knew he'd been a tech sergeant. He had enough points to make it. All he had to do was score on the test, but he never studied. So anyway, somehow he was inspired to study. He spent his shifts studying. And with the points he got on the next test, he was like the second guy in line to get. We had a style and hat. You can wear these baseball caps with a squat on them and so on. And we redesigned that. I said, let's come up with something different. Let's have a new scarf, new hat. And I eliminated all the other hats. I said, everybody goes to standard uniform hats. And the day you're certified, or when you get recertified, we're going to do mission calls and everybody in short order to the new standards. When you're certified, you will be authorized to wear the hat. Until then, you're a regular Air Force member. When you're a certified member of the 2nd Command Control Squadron, then you can stand tall with the hat and the scarf. So we made a big deal out of it. When someone was mission certified, I'd have a ceremony, and their hat and their scarf, and it seemed to make a pretty good difference. So, sorry, I get kind of choked up about it because they were a really good crew. Morale seemed to improve. We simplified the training. We focused on making sure the mission was done. And thankfully, 8 months later, we were reevaluated, got an excellent URI. And the folks in the unit were proud of their achievement, and rightly so. So I was fortunate to be associated with a crew like that.